Welcome to the Voices of Young People podcast, brought to you by Springtide Research Institute. In each episode, we hear directly from young people as they respond to our research and share about the issues impacting their lives. As sociologists and researchers, we see a new story unfolding for young people, one that moves beyond traditional institutional boundaries and requires careful attention to the inner and outer lives of emerging generations. At the intersection of being and becoming, it's the Voices of Young People.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Season 3 of the Voices of Young People podcast. I'm your host, as always, Josh Packard, the Executive Director at Springtide Research Institute. This whole season, Season 3, is in support of our newest report, The State of Religion and Young People 2020, which focuses on relational authority. And this episode of Season 3 really dives into that. So we're going to hear from Kellen. Kellen offers a personal example of why he identifies as an atheist, the moral teachings that he is committed to upholding and embodying, and how trusted adults in his life have demonstrated respect, love, and acceptance, something I think that we would all be striving to do for any young person. So sit back and listen as Kellen brings us to you in a firsthand account of how adults can practice those qualities.
Hi, my name is Kellen Levy. I'm 19 years old, and right now I live in California, but I've also lived in Georgia and New York for a while. My pronouns are he, him. I've taken a year in college, but I'm taking a gap year right now, partially because of the pandemic and partially because I have to qualify for in-state tuition. Right now I work for Albertsons. I'm a cashier there. Right now I identify as atheist, but some beliefs and practices from Christianity I still have. Right now I'm really interested in things like different fantasy novels, Dungeons and Dragons, nerdy things like that. And yeah, that's pretty much who I am. I identify as atheist. I don't really believe in a higher power, so to say. Like, I don't believe really in a God as a traditional sense. But a lot of the more moral things, especially in the New Testament, with Jesus saying like, love your neighbor as yourself, or give to the poor what you have, or if you don't throw the first stone unless you haven't done anything yourself. Everything like that, I am totally down with. That all makes sense to me morally. But when I was younger, I did believe more in a God. I was raised in the deep South, so that was fairly common, but my worldview of that used to be very different than it is now. When I was younger and lived in Georgia, I did attend a couple of churches there, but I wasn't very big on it, because even when I was younger, I kind of started wondering like, hey, some of these things in the Bible are not kind of sus. Like the whole stone someone if they're gay. I'm like, wait a minute. And they also, especially certain churches I went to, ignored parts of the Bible. Like they focused on the don't be gay thing, but they ignored the it's harder for a camel or it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. They seem to gloss over that part. There seems to be a lot of like socialist ideals in the New Testament, especially things that Jesus said, and they kind of just shoved that to the side and only took out the parts that they wanted. So I didn't really have a great view of churches. And then when we moved to New York, I didn't really go to any church. It wasn't as bad, but I kind of had negative connotations with the church. But then my family found Middle Church, which is a church in New York City. And it was radically different from my experience in the South. They were very, very accepting of people of all races, sexual orientations, genders, things like that. So, and they also were accepting that I didn't really believe in a higher power. I was kind of very nervous about going to other churches because it felt like I had to hide that if I went to church with my family. Don't mention that. I mentioned it at Middle, and people were like, "Oh yeah, fine," which kind of surprised me. Middle seemed to more focus on the moral implications of the Bible, like the things I mentioned before: love your neighbor, generally just help people. So that really clicked with me. I went to Middle a lot. People had different views about higher powers. Some people believed in one, some people didn't. Even the pastor there has mentioned a couple times that a lot of the things that happened in the Bible aren't feasibly possible. For instance, a 90-year-old man climbing a mountain, that doesn't seem feasible, but it's not the literal interpretation that matter. It's the overall morality that is presented. And then the pastor also says things like Joshua was an imperialist. That's not great. So it was looking at the Bible from a more modern or more sane view than the Deep South. And that really clicked with me. Pretty much I went there until I moved from New York. I didn't go every Sunday, but when my family went, I went, and I was happy about it. I currently don't attend a church here, partially because there's a pandemic going on, and also just I haven't found a place like Middle here. I don't imagine it's easy to find a place like that. But yeah, there definitely are some churches I would like to believe that are more accepting of people. My idea of what's sacred is a little different from the normal. I don't believe sacred comes from a higher power. I think what's sacred is what we make of it. Something as little as helping out, help just any way you can help out another person. Sacred, that's you acting on what I believe is that there's a base good inside everyone. It's just whether people act on it or don't. So in my opinion, something sacred is acting on that base good. The most profound experience that I ever had of someone else giving up something for someone else was I wasn't there, but it was a family friend in Uganda who was wanting to apply for a school in California, but didn't have the money for an application. So one of her friends named Believe literally emptied her entire life savings to pay for the application. She had been saving that money for all of her life, and just like that gave it up for someone else. So that things like that make me believe that people are good, and or at least are born good, I think. And they're just people that are completely selfless and are willing to give up anything for someone else. I don't particularly practice a religion like I mentioned before, but I believe that some things from the religion, like the loving your neighbor, are things that we can practice in everyday life. something as simple as holding a door for someone, or just asking someone how's your day when you meet them. Basic things like that. Just in general, trying to be kind to someone. I'm not the most kind person, but I try my best to be, and those things from the religion I once had still resonate with me today, and I believe that those things mean you should participate in social activism, do as much community service as you can, just in general be kind to people as much as you can. So yeah, that's my belief for what I practice. That's a remnant from my religious days. In terms of social activism, I definitely believe that if there's a whole debate if Jesus was a person or not, but I believe that if he was, 100% would be a social activist. He was, and the whole idea of John Lewis getting into good trouble, that's exactly what he did. He preached things that were definitely against the status quo at the time, and they killed him for it. Saying that you should give to Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God's, things like that, or saying that some of the things in the Old Testament were wrong and that you shouldn't practice those things. So they killed him for doing that. That definitely is good trouble that you should be in. So I think that definitely Jesus would have been a social activist if he were alive now. An influence that atheism kind of has on my life is, while I was religious, I believe that there is an afterlife, and I still think there might be, but the fact that I don't know means I have to make the most of my life now. And I believe that is almost empowering, that if this is all I have to give it my all, instead of, I am doing this, I'm effectively I know some people who in the South were thinking this will pass and when we get into heaven. I think that it's more prudent to be, if this is what I have, I have to make the best of it, and help them make as many people's lives better as I can. So that's what I believe atheism has influenced me. Someone who's mentored me and is my mother, and ironically, she is very religious. She believes in a higher power, but she's always been respectful of what other people believe. When I told her I was an atheist, she said, okay, you believe what you believe, I'll believe what I believe. And she also is very accepting of other people. When I told her I was bisexual, she was okay, cool. So definitely that showed me that people can have a religion, but not use it as an excuse for hate. They instead use it as a reason to love. Another person who showed me that was the pastor from Middle, Jackie Lewis. An extremely accepting person. She is another person who showed me that someone can take this religion that has so often been used to commit terrible things to people, but instead turn it into something that can be used for love, helping out the community, accepting people from all walks of life, and just showed me that not all churches are this fundamentalist, you have to believe this. Instead, it's just believing that you should love people.
Visit springtideresearch.org to hear more voices of young people and to download the State of Religion and Young People 2020 report, which is free thanks to a very generous donation. Today's show was produced by Marta Abuaji and TJ Birnbaum, with original music by high school student Christian Unthank. Special thanks to our guests today and to all the young people whose perspectives and insights make our research possible. Remember to find us on social media at WeAreSpringtide and share your own stories with the hashtag ShowUpForYoungPeople. Thanks for listening.